Who do I want to be in college? This is a question I've wrestled with over the past few weeks as high school comes to a close and college will become my new life. Many of you know who I am, and you have a developed, fixed opinion on me, and if someone were to ask you, hey, who is that? You would give a pretty good description of me. However, my future classmates at Loyola University do not know me, so I can be, or could be, whoever I want. It is no secret that Loyola University is a pretty fun school. The students like to have fun. The students enjoy going out and partying. Is that who I want to be in college? The partier? I will be on my own in college with little supervision and my parents sending me money, hopefully. Do I want to become careless with that money? Do I want to bet on games and sporting events? Do I want to buy everything that I see, whether it's in the food court, Amazon, all that good stuff? With being on your own, it is your responsibility to wake up and go to class. Do I want to be the guy that's late for class all the time or even miss class? My parents are not in my ear reminding me to clean up, do my homework, make my bed, brush my teeth, comb my hair. Do I want to be the messy guy with messy hair and might even smell a little bad? Do I want to be the guy with a messy dorm room, clothes all over the place, wrappers, food, all that? I need to be honest with myself, analyze the good and the bad traits that I have. If I want to be different in college, then I need to start practicing those traits now and who I want to be. Thanks.
College is like a reset button. There will be new people, a new campus, and for some, even a new state. This is very nerve-wracking, as I'll have to start over. I'll have to make new friends, find new people to rely on, and new places to hang out. I'm worried that it's going to be a lot harder to make friends. I'm scared that my college classmates won't be as welcoming as you guys here. Also, with less guided activities, I'll have less of an opportunity to meet people. Also, I'll have totally new things to do with the time I have. With no parents around, it's scary to think what will happen. As much as I hate it when they force me to do my chores or homework, I don't know if they would be done without it. I worry that with more free time, I'll find myself doing the wrong things. With no one to keep me on track, I might find myself doing that 10-page paper the night before it's due. With no friends and no drive to work, I worry that I might spend my nights alone in my dorm just doing nothing the whole time. Also, if I need to go somewhere for help, who do I go to? With no parents, no familiar adults, or even friends, I don't know who I will turn to in time of need. Whether it's an academic question or something as simple as how to wash my sheets, it is definitely worrying not knowing any adults. However, I am confident that it will work out because it seems like that is how life works. Plus, I'll always have my dons that I can turn to. We're only one message away. Because, I mean, one of us has to know how to wash our sheets, right? Thank you.
Who do I want to be? I considered this idea for a while before going to college, much like you guys are right now. So let me take you back to my day, a whole 5 years ago. All of high school, or really my whole life, I was called Little Josie Brown, defined and identified by my very petite build. I graduated high school at a whopping 5'3" and 110 pounds, very little. I was also called Little because of my innocence. I was good at two shoes, president of Honor Society, I didn't party, I had very solid grades, I liked who I was, and although I was only going an hour away to school, I knew I wanted to change things a little bit when I got to college, especially after a rather rough end to my senior year. It was not an easy transition for me. Going to college challenged me in ways I did not really anticipate. I was living with my best friend of 6 years. I didn't know how to work a washer or dryer, and I was hit pretty hard by all the greasy food available to me on campus. Freshman 15 is real. Coming from a very small town full of people that looked and thought just like I did, it was a bit of a shock seeing so much diversity around me. I quickly learned that my view of the world was embarrassingly limited. Through meeting other people and actively seeking the uncomfortable, I was able to grow into who I am today, and I'm very thankful for that. But again, it was not easy. Between my freshman and sophomore year, I experienced many losses. From grandparents to childhood friends, I found myself asking the question, why is this happening? Or more specifically, why is it happening to me? To deal with all of this, I kept busy, very busy. I was taking 6 classes, working 3 jobs, and stage managing a show, all while pushing down the grief and pain of the hard-hitting reality around me. Needless to say, I was not doing well. I struggled for a while into my junior year, overworked and pretty depressed, until finally, as you probably could have guessed, I broke down. I found myself feuding with my roommates. The same roommate I was living with freshman year became an enemy of mine. I was crying over missed parties, and I was just generally mad at the world. I ended up going to the free therapy that was offered on campus, and after one session, the therapist gave me a less than stellar description of myself. I didn't really know what to do. Luckily for me, during this time, I was taking a playwriting class with Mr. David White. This class quickly turned into my favorite class of all time, and David into my favorite teacher of all time. At one point, a classmate of mine did not come to class prepared, as I'm sure none of you do. He didn't have a script for any of us to read. My teacher, David, just looked at him and said, well, you make time for the things you find important, and I guess my class just didn't make the cut. We all kind of held our breath, happy that David wasn't saying this to us, but he just went on with class like nothing had happened. I talked about this with David once after taking his class, and I realized he wasn't saying that to hurt the student in any way. He was saying it from a place of understanding and acceptance. He was just stating a rather simple fact of life. You make time for the things you find important. My classmate didn't make time to make his script important, just like I really was not making time for myself to be important. I realized something needed to change in my life if I wanted to grow old and achieve all of the many goals I had set for myself. And so I started with being sad. I gave myself time and space to slow down and just be downright sad for a little bit. I found relief in the fact that it really wasn't my fault for feeling this way. Life was just really hard. I had been in high gear for as long as I could remember, and I finally took the time that I so desperately needed to process my life, all the ups and downs that came with it. I realized how much of the good I was missing out on because all I really had time to focus on was the bad. I realized how much I could grow as a person, not from running from my problems, but from acknowledging them for what they were and knowing that sometimes life just sucks. I guess if I could give you any advice, as I believe the youngest person here at Loyola, it's to slow down. It's cliche, I know, but take a deep breath and give yourself the time you need to process things both good and bad. Laugh at yourself for not knowing how to do laundry. Get mad and speak up when you see injustices, even if your voice shakes. Cry hard when you lose someone. Feel all the feels that the world has to offer to you, and there's a lot out there. My time at Towson University consisted of 2 degrees, 54 classes, 166 credits, a 3.78 GPA, 63-ish books, 5 living arrangements, 5 roommates, 7 if you include my parents right now, 1 cat, 3 plays, 2 musicals, 4 part-time jobs, 9 kids to babysit, 4 Baltimore County Public Schools to visit, 289 students, 2 mentor teachers, 1 pandemic, 4.5 years later. I'm here to tell you that you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself, and that is really exciting. Do not lose yourself. I'm still little Josie Brown at heart, but she has learned to grow up with the world around her. But please take your time. Reach out for help even if you don't want to. Listen to your teachers. Eat your vegetables. I don't know. I just hope that you make time for the things you find important, and I hope you realize how important you are. Thank you.
Yeah, in a lot of ways I feel like we can go home after that. I'm really excited to be here with you all because in a lot of ways I feel like a senior too because this is my 4th year at Loyola Blakefield. So I started with all of you, and I'm getting a chance to see you kind of move on as well. So I'm really, really honored to be here. And I really hope the advice that I give, because you've been getting a lot over this past couple of days, I'm sure months, I hope that you can take a little bit from it. One of my all-time favorite rap albums is Jay-Z's Blueprint. It dropped on September 11th, 2001. Jay-Z gave much of the proceeds from the sales of his records to the families of those who were harmed or killed on that day. I was a freshman in high school in 2001, and we all know that music is life, especially when you're in high school. So I loved this album, and there is one particular verse that stands out, the kind of verse that makes you go, sheesh, when you hear it. The verse goes like this. I sell ice in winter, I sell fire in hell, I'm a hustler, baby, I sell water to a well. And I hope you don't have to edit that, Eddie, sorry. All right? I love that line because the metaphors are on point, but it's also just dripping with confidence and bravado. This is someone who knows who he is. This is someone who knows what they can do. So this theme of blueprint is what I want to use for my remarks today. Oftentimes students think when they go to college, they're starting all over again, from scratch. I don't think this is necessarily true. Whether you've been at Loyola since 6th grade, whether you transferred into the middle school, whether you started at 9th, or whether you transferred in the upper school, you've been working on your blueprint this whole entire time. I think the cool thing about college is that your 2D blueprint starts to become 3D. So you aren't completely starting over, it's more like you're doing construction. So I want to talk a little bit about who I was in high school. Who was Mr. White in high school? Around junior and senior year, I started to take on the identity of a student leader. So I was in SGA, I had run track sophomore, junior, and senior year. I was nothing like the Ray brothers, but I put in my work. And then I also started to get involved in community service. So this idea of a student leader, this idea of community, this idea of being on the team was something I really developed in high school, and I brought that to college with me. I didn't start all over again. I brought that to college with me. So I got involved in community service. I wanted to be around like-minded folks. I didn't necessarily do athletics, but the athletic experience taught me. I like being around people who are committed to a common goal. And by senior year, not trying to brag at all, not at all, but by senior year, I had this identity on campus. It's kind of like the social justice guy. Students would come to me, teachers would come to me, and it was something that was really, really important to me. So I went from 2D to 3D. Now, as you're going from 2D to 3D, you might realize that there are some things in your blueprint that looked good on paper, but don't actually look good in reality. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about time management. And at this point in time, you're probably tired of hearing about time management. So, if the next couple lines go in your ear and out your ear, I can understand that. But just like Jay-Z, I think some of the lines I have are going to be pretty fire. Some of you were good at time management here at Loyola Wakefield. Some of you were terrible at time management here at Loyola Wakefield, right? Regardless, time management looks different in college, and we've already heard a little bit about that. In college, there's going to be long blocks of time, say from like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., where there is no parent or guardian supervision. There's no coming home after sports, extracurriculars, or classes. That time is completely yours. It hits different. Right? I struggled with that. I wasn't really good at balancing my time and everything that I wanted to do. And that especially came true in sophomore year, but I'm sharing it because I think it has implications for you in your freshman year. So I was struggling with grades. Grades dropped. I was doing too much stuff, not really studying, doing what I need to do. And so I went to the Academic Center for Student Services. And I'll never forget this. I sat down and I told the specialist what was going on, and she took out a piece of paper that had the day blocked out 24 hours and 45-minute intervals and said, plot your day. And I was like, what? Plot when you go to class, plot when you hang out, plot when you eat, plot when you do extracurriculars, plot when you go to sleep. I had never done anything like this before. I didn't have on-campus in high school and things like that. And my high school experience was pretty structured. I went to class, I went to track practice, I went home, and started the loop all over again. So actually sitting down and thinking about that 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., what I want to do at that time, was really, really helpful for me. But I didn't want to do it though. It seemed tedious. I wanted to live a spontaneous life, and plotting my life on this piece of paper did not feel cool, didn't feel good, didn't feel useful. But it was. It ultimately was. And the next couple of semesters, I saw my grades go up. Junior year, I was on Dean's List. All because I actually structured my time and wrote it down. Now at 33, I can't do anything unless it's in the Google Calendar. I like it now. I never thought I would be that person. So I had to take out of my blueprint this overconfidence that I knew time management and insert into my blueprint this very practical tool of using a planner and planning my time. The last thing I want to leave you with is, regardless of what issue you have during your next years, regardless of what it is, roommate, financial aid, diversity and inclusion, figuring out where the washer dryer is, or whatever issue is, there is someone or something on campus that is going to help you figure out that issue. Don't go through a whole semester not sure about financial aid. Don't go through a whole semester not liking your roommate. Don't go through a whole semester not knowing if the culture of the campus for you. Don't do that. There's someone and something there to help you. Your job is, you have to find it. All right? Go from 2D to 3D. Thank you very much.